What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this week we're going to the grocery getter race that I won last year. They changed the rules to hard tires, so we'll see how that works. I'm just gonna have to shove this thing down through there. The car fits the rules. They changed it to a hard tire, trying to get me to move out of that class, but we drive the car around on hard tires. So I got them. We're gonna shove the car down through there on them and see how that goes. But I got a tech when I get there. I haven't been to the track yet this year, so I got to get the car tech, figure out where I'm gonna park, figure out where they're doing chip draw, all that fun stuff. So try to bring you guys along with. It's gonna be a busy time getting ready and stuff, so I'll try to film as much as I can. Well, welcome to Coles County Dragway. Looks like there's a line, so we're gonna wait till they open the gates. Alright, so I get there, go get the car teched in. Ran into a bunch of people I haven't seen in a while, so they were all excited to see me there. There's been another El Camino down there this year. Same color as mine, except it's got two-tone and it's got a white stripe across the bottom. It's not an SS, but everybody was joking about the fact that he had a twin that wasn't racing this year. But I was excited to be at this event. We went up and made our test passes and got a little interesting. I figured out the car was not going to take just a normal pass. The second pass I tried leaving a little bit softer, it didn't make a difference. So I knew I was going to have to just kind of leave baby soft and then roll it out the back. So we go over chip draw, and there had been 3 of us, and there was the truck, me, and then this G8. Now I spun really hard against the G8, but the time that he ran was the time that I was running by the end of the day. So if we had drawn each other first round, it would have been a really good race. But I drew the white truck, and during the drivers meeting, I thought somebody was going to get the bye, and then all of a sudden this guy walks up with the other number 2 chip, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? I was like, what car do you have? He goes, oh, Ford Ranger. Now there was a green Ford Ranger there Friday night that was running 690s on motor. This class is meant to be stock suspension, you know, just plain Jane stuff where anybody can come off the street if they got, you know, a cammed 410 Camaro or something like that. Like, this class is meant to be competitive for that style of car. This style of car. Not that it's, you know, I don't expect to win every time. Like, I hope somebody does beat me, and I'm glad that G8 showed up, because me and him were going to be a really good race if we made it to the finals together. And that's what it's all about. But this guy, just looking at it, I was like, what is he doing in a grocery getter class? Just at first glance, didn't have current plates and registration. It had a 4-link underneath it instead of leaf springs. And he was running a tire that was way too big. We all, you know, the rest of us were like, we're not sure if he fits. Went and looked up the rules on the website, and technically there was nothing we could ding him against. There's unspoken rules when you're talking about a daily driver class, but none of those rules were written, and that's on the track hunter. But was what it was, so we were gonna have to rent him, and I thought those were the only 2 things. So I was like, if I get him in the final, it is what it is. You know, if he's faster than me and we're, you know, on a level playing field, it's fine. But anyway, so we go up for first round against the guy that we raced in the finals last year. So, ran that race. I kind of had to pedal a little bit out of the hole, but other than that, I feel like the traction control on that was pretty good. Went down track, put a couple cars on them. It was a little bit closer than last year because they changed the rules to hard tire. Last year I was on a radial. But same end result. Went over, shook his hand, told him good race. We went up for second round chip draw, which turned out to be a coin flip. And yeah, guy with the Ranger put quite a gap on the G8. And had me questioning things a little bit. You know, I'm walking up to chip draw and he's got a generator going with a battery charger hooked up to his battery. And I'm like, if it's a street car, why do you have to charge the battery between rounds? So we go up there and I'm like, do you have an alternator? And he goes, yeah, I got one. I just hooked the battery charger up to, you know. And I was like, okay. So we do the chip draw. I go up and look at his truck physically, and I was looking in the engine bay. He thought I was looking to make sure his nitrous was unhooked. He goes, "Yeah, here's a cap nitrous line." I'm like, "Yep," but this engine is motor plated, and the engine's moved 6 to 8 inches back. The air cleaner's underneath where the wiper blades are. And I was just like, what in the... I mean, this truck had no business being a daily driver class. It was not a driver, not street legal, not nothing. I tried to politely talk to him. The whole time I was just frustrated. But he knew what he was doing. You know, there's certain things that you don't take pride in, and bringing a bazooka to a knife fight and then, you know, bragging about it, it's just something you don't do. But anyway, so yeah, I saw that, and then I saw the fact that he has, you know, a roll cage with the bars going through the firewall tie into the front frame rails. So the bars are up by the hood. Now, a Ford Ranger should have 2 control arms and a coil spring in between, yada, yada, yada. No, this guy had swapped it over to a strut front end like what a Fox body has, and he had a long travel strut going from the bar that was up by the hood all the way down to a single lower control arm. And yeah, so at that point, I was just like, I'm going to walk away before this gets out of hand. But anyway, so we went up for the finals against him. So overall, it was a good weekend. I had fun regardless. It's frustrating to know that I've, you know, should have won, but I had somebody who was not cheating, but puppy kicking. It's just part of it. You're going to have people like that in racing, unfortunately. But I've been getting with the promoter and the track owner the last couple of days to figure out what we need to do to keep that from happening again. Not that I don't want the class to be competitive, not that I don't want somebody to show up and run just a blazing fast pass if their car fits the rules and fits the spirit of the class. So we're going to change some things to try to keep stuff like that out. My worry is that over the next couple of years, we may take a little bit to get people to come back because nobody wants to show up in a daily driver that they drive every day and just get mollywopped by somebody who has no business being in that class. So we'll see what happens. We're going to try to get it all figured out, and we'll see how next year goes. But I don't know how many races I'm going to get to go to this year. This one was one that I was definitely wanting to make. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I may go over to Terre Haute a couple times if they do the street legal drags over there. I'd like to go to Brown County at least once this year, and possibly Morocco as well. So yeah, we'll just keep plugging. I think the car's running better than it did last year. Obviously on a hard tire I wasn't able to, you know, make a full pass under power. So at some point I'm gonna want to go down there on radials and get a time slip. But it seemed I did a couple things over the winter, just not changing any parts, but just doing some adjustments, and I think they worked out well. The car was running the same mile an hour it usually does, and I was pedaling and spinning and scooting all over the place and everything. So yeah, overall that part's good. I'm glad the car's running good, and we'll just have to do some testing soon and see what this thing will really run. But yeah, so we'll get to as many events this year as we can, and try to get this event sorted out for next year to make sure that something like this does not happen again. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Sorry this video is a little bit depressing, and I don't want to complain about stuff. I don't want to be negative, and I surely don't want to be the guy that goes and, you know, contests something to try to get somebody kicked out. But yeah, unfortunately stuff like this happens, and it's not anybody's fault necessarily that, you know, it wasn't like somebody contested it and they went over and saw something blatantly wrong and, you know, didn't kick them out. It's just the rules were written the way they were written, and the guy was using all of the gray area that you could use. So it's just something we gotta change. This is only the second year running this event. Weren't expecting to have this problem this early, but yeah, we'll get it taken care of and have it good for next year. So we'll get you guys on the next one.